Hello everyone, welcome from the winter wonderland of Pennsylvania. Isn't it beautiful? This is the place where I walk and where I've done a lot of my own personal processing over the years. And I wanted to share it with you today. So today is the day that I want to share with you a little bit about the beginning of my journey, because many of you may just be starting out with this, and when you jump in the middle, it seems like, well, it seems impossible for you to be there. People are doing all these wonderful things and tapping into their creativity and their purpose in life, and you may be feeling like, I don't have any of that, I'm totally clueless, I couldn't possibly get there, and that just isn't the truth. So I will try to give you a short version of my journey, and I want to start with how I want to start with where I was in depression. I was in a depression. I would say, I could even go back as far as to say middle school, but high school and into college. And I have always been, trying to not be depressed, trying to be out of that, and wondering, what is this world all about? And it just didn't make sense to me. Nothing really made sense to me. So I can look back and say, I was awake in my childhood, but I wasn't aware that I was awake. So I looked at life differently. I could have unconditional love. I could see unconditional love, but I didn't see other people doing that. Everything was conditional, and it just didn't make sense to me. And even being aware of our government, even at a young age, of how it didn't take care of the people. So I was disenchanted with life right from the beginning, and I just didn't realize it. I just didn't have a conscious awareness of that. And so I went on to be angry and depressed. So in my mid-20s, I had a moment of clarity where I just stood in front of a mirror and looked at myself, and I'm like, what am I doing? What is life all about? Where am I going from here? Do I even want to continue? And that point of saying, okay, can you take your life? And I just knew I couldn't do it. So I said, okay, you can't keep going the way you're going. This is absolutely miserable. So I just had a turning point moment there, and I thought, okay, you need to start doing things that are going to make you feel better and figure out what life is really all about. So I did. There was a lot of inertia there. If you're in that place, it's just gradual steps. Get yourself out, exercise and eat well, and just try something new each day to help get you, moving in a flow, some type of flow. So I did that. I don't know how long. There were ups and downs. It's never, it was a long, long time. But one thing I want to say is everybody's journey is different. We all have our sovereign journey. So I'm just hoping that my experience encourages you to do your experience in whatever way it comes forth for you. And also the energy today is things can be released with much more ease and grace than they could, 20 years ago. So, knowing that it doesn't have to be a long ordeal for you. Just always ask for ease and grace, and just propel your own conscious awareness. I was more contemplative and observing the world and becoming aware of myself. And then I would have, aha moments in my life. And one was realizing that life really is just about love. Us all just learning to love each other and to know that that's the most important thing. It's not about your job, what car you drive, what clothes you're wearing, what your house looks like. All these things that we stressed about, those just weren't important things. So I moved forward from there, and I got married, and I had my daughter. And, that brought forth another surge of wanting things to be even better, even though I've, came to a certain point. I wanted things to be even better. And, but prior to my daughter being born, I had a couple deaths in the family, and I was present for both of them. And I had a realization of how death really is a birthing process. I could see that, and it was more of a beautiful thing to be a part of for me than a painful thing. And from that point, around that point of the deaths and my daughter's birth, I started reading books about, self-help type books, spiritualism, the whole realm, the conscious awareness. I would say, like Bruce Lipton, Wayne Dyer. Started out with Oprah's Gratitude Journal. That was the first one. And many, many, many books, very diverse for me. I never read, more than 2 books from one author. And I read many different authors. So my journey was very eclectic. I've taken bits and pieces of information from different places. But what that did was it helped me to expand my viewpoint on what life is and what it could be. And I learned discernment. I learned how some of the things I read just didn't feel true to me. And I learned to start trusting that. So the reading was guiding me into my own intuitive abilities, even though I may not have realized it at the time. So I was learning discernment and intuition through the readings as I was expanding my mind into accepting new concepts. And all the while, I was also doing some healing and changing belief patterns that I had about myself that really weren't the truth. So the next thing that came up for me was diet, was be physically healthy. I wasn't feeling good. I had 3 children. I had hypothyroidism. And I just always knew that there were problems with our food. That was another thing I was always looking into and researching, was the food and what was wrong with our food. I actually had that realization as a child. I could see the changes coming as they came. I could smell the chemicals in the bread and different things like that. So this was always something on my plate, but I just finally started really researching it because I wasn't well, and my children weren't necessarily well. They were having difficulties digesting food and having ear infections and things like that all the time. So I did some healing there. I found some good information, and I started to heal my body, and I felt so much better, and I could hold more light. I can say that now. I didn't really understand it at the time, but I could hold more light now. I was, I could be in a better emotional state because I was physically able to. So all these things connect and help each other out. So that was a physical part of this conscious awakening. And then, so as I was doing that, I became clearer and had more desires. So I wanted to check out energy healing and wasn't sure, exactly how to do that. I've been a healer all my life. I was working in sports medicine for 25 years and was wanting to continue in a healing capacity. So I took a Reiki class. I started checking out, learning about psychic abilities. I went to some mediumship classes, and I was exploring those new types of things, new options for me. That was my gift. It was clairsentience. I could feel it in my body, and then I would have a sense of knowing that is the truth. That's where the discernment in the reading came in. I would just have a sense of knowing that, nah, or oh yeah, that's amazing, and I feel like I remember that, things like that. So it took me a long time to quit beating myself up about not being able to hear or see and not be able to learn these techniques. And I finally realized everybody has their own way. It just wasn't my way. My way was through the knowingness and trusting that feeling, and clarifying it as my soul speaking to me and not my ego, which is an issue in the beginning, and trusting the feelings that I had in my bodies, and knowing that I started to realize that I was very empathic. So a lot of times when I felt upset about something, it was because I was feeling the energy of the room or the space or someone else in my family. Okay, I'm back. My phone froze on the walk, so I had to come home and thaw my phone out. But I'm still back outside. You can see the backyard, pretty snow. I hear the car coming. So this whole process where things gradually, came in through different triggers from my life, like the diet thing and the deaths. And so your life experiences will guide you into what you need to do next. So we just need to surrender to our own process. And while I was doing all this, I knew for me, it was about self-healing. I just wanted to feel better. I wanted to be free. That was the key thing that came up for me, was freedom. Wanting to be free. I felt trapped. I always felt so trapped. So as I started learning about all these things, expanding my awareness, shifting some beliefs here and there, knowing, even more as the journey went on, that it was an internal job. I had to integrate whatever I was learning. It wasn't just learning it. At a certain point, I realized people go to workshops and they jump from workshop to workshop, but they don't really take the time to integrate what they were learning or gaining from that workshop. So I became aware of that and started to be more mindful of that and integrating what I was getting and learning and releasing. And so it's been about, releasing my own pain, feeling my own pain, and letting it be released. The more I did that, the more I opened up to my gifts, to happiness in my life, joy, and doing new things, and all of that. So the healing, at some point, does it opens you up to your creativity. So around 2000 and I'll say 6, 7, 8, in there somewhere, I started opening up to my creativity. And I started making jewelry. I started playing around with crystal bowls. I started allowing myself to use my voice where I would never sing. That's a whole story in itself. And eventually, this all evolved into me offering energy and sound healing, sound journeys, and it's all about opening up your heart. My whole journey's been about opening up my own heart, and that's why I'm in the position to be able to help you open up your heart. So it unfolds. Your journey, it just unfolds. So if you don't know what your purpose is, it's okay. It's okay. Just let yourself, resolve everything and love yourself more deeply and shift your beliefs into what is the truth for you. And as you do all this and you peel away the layers of the onion, you'll start to receive more. You'll be able to receive more. It's just all about being, for me, I see it as being in harmonic alignment with my divine soul and allowing the energy in. And when you're holding on to all these pains or things that aren't true, you're disconnected or you're off alignment. You're not in alignment, so you can't receive it. When you allow yourself to be in alignment and you pull yourself back in, you can start to receive. Now, it's a daily process too. Even for me now, today, it still is. There are times where my thoughts will drift off into old thought patterns. But I catch it quite easily off more times than not. And I can bring myself back into alignment. So as you progress and release, it gets easier and easier. And then you open up to more joy and more creativity and your purpose. And you realize this journey never ends and it's always changing. And the only thing you can count on in life is that everything will always change. That's the only constant. So, and it's all about love. So, I hope that helps some people with their journey, understanding that it's not all cake and roses for us, for me, for any of us, and we have things to work through, and we get through them, and things open up. And now's the time. We're stepping into the golden age, so accept the divine love within your own heart and be that love, and love yourself. And until next time. So watch, though, I'm going to start having topics on different aspects like trust and meditation, the value, different topics, especially to help those people who are just starting. And also I will continue to talk about my own journey. So God bless you all, and thank you. Bye.